Hello, welcome to my channel. That little improv was what I want to teach today, which is sixths. It wasn't all six, obviously, but that's just how I like to improvise and practice when I'm working on stuff like this. So I want to teach the sixth interval, and what a sixth is. You start on your C major scale, which is on the 8th fret. And when you start on the C, you're going up 6 notes to the A. So if you know your major shape, your third here, it's above the third. The 6 is on the next string down. So you're going on the first string and the third string. So you go from 1 to the 6th, then back down the scale. So C to A, then back down the scale. G, F, E. You go up to your D. You go up to the E. Back down. So that's great for just practicing melodically. See, when you end here on the B, you got to kind of extend past this little pattern here, or the little box. Shit, I missed one. It's a great exercise this is something I've been working on for the last couple weeks, I guess now. I mean, I've worked on it before in the past, not enough, and it's been helping me out a lot, like on my solos, because you can that jump. When you go up to that 6, you got the rest of the scales underneath, in between your notes here, underneath on that second string, and it helps you to see expand across the neck. And what I like to do myself is I'll take the major scale pattern here and play it on one string. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and I'll do the 6 this way. And to me, it's easier this way. But as a beginner, you want to get that little box shape down so you can know the sound. It's just great for visualization. And not just that, but melodic patterns. Like, that's that's probably my favorite interval. So, anyways, back to the other shape. If you start on do the one string, you can go up a scale like this. You got C, A, D, and B, E, C, F, D, G, E, A, F, B, G, and then back to your C. Get that down, just practicing that. This is something you work on for life. If you're young and you start doing this now, I mean, it pays off huge. And the more you play, and it's something you go back to, or if you don't practice it every day, you should if you can. But I mean, life happens. But if you go back to that continuously and just always work at learning them shapes like that, it just helps you to see over time. I mean, I'm 45 and it took me my whole life to get where I'm at. But a lot of why I can play now is because all these little things over the years, like I may not practice them every day. It could be months in between, but and I keep going back to them. And then in time, you just get good at it. You just start seeing it. But I practice a lot and I do stuff like this all the time. But I'll sit on the porch and I'll just play these little patterns like this when I'm sitting out there with my acoustic. You can do that same exercise. You can go up to the A, back down the scale. Believe it or not, it's easier to expand it. Maybe not in the beginning, but when you've been playing a while, and if you force yourself to expand like that, after a while it becomes easier instead of staying in a box because you see it spread out. To me, it's easier. It's a real pretty sounding exercise. So you got that one, and then you got your thirds. You can practice them because if you combine thirds and sixths, it sounds really good. That's what I was doing in that little improv. Mainly, this is your thirds pattern, which we probably all heard that one. And then if you want to do that in your little box shape, again the major scale, you're just going from your first note C to the third. So you're just skipping every other note of the scale. So you go C to E, D to F, E to G, F to A, G to B, A to C, B to D, and then you're back to C, and then you go backwards. That right there is one of the best exercises you can practice daily. I practice it daily. And then you combine that with that sixth exercise. I'll just throw them thirds. And I just sit and I'll jam like when I practice stuff like this. I'll just make up solos and I'll be thinking about the six the whole time and try, but I'm not necessarily using them. I just look for opportunities to use them. Jumping down, and so you can jump up like this. I'll improvise a little. Young guys, if you get in, like I was eighth grade, and back then you didn't really have much tab, so I started making up things way back then. And this, I remember sitting on the porch in the summertime and just making up. I didn't know music then, but I just made up little bass solos without. I didn't know no theory or anything, but I do the same things to this day. And if you get in the habit of doing that and taking these little lessons, and you just make up little things like I just made up, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It don't, you're just playing, you know, and then it just gets you to see. I just keep, like I said, that whole time I'm just keeping in mind that you got the six, so I look for opportunities, which I know the thirds really well, so I'm always seeing them. But you just combine the two, just intervals, and that's what I'm thinking about the whole time is them intervals. I'm not really thinking at all, because you get used to the jumping around, thirds, six, thirds, six, six. And then you can take it up. That's not the best improv, but you get the idea. And that's just what you do. You just, I'll put a beat on and practice this kind of stuff. And what's cool is you get it in this C. When you go to your A major, it doesn't change. Same pattern. So if you have trouble with notes, you can just learn patterns, and it's good just to get it in your ear because ultimately the goal isn't to know the name of the notes. It is to, but it's the sound. You want the sounds. So if you can get the sounds, you just practice it over and over, until you start getting it. And then, like I said, how I was improvising there, you can start doing little improvs, and that will help you to get the exercise down. It goes hand in hand. I mean, you want to get the exercise down first, but I mean, if you practice in one day and then you ain't got it down all the way, you can still improvise. And then when you get back to practicing, like every day I pick up and I'll run through that for a while in different places because it's just such a common. It's great solo for soloing, and it's great to see the key, and you realize that once you start practicing this stuff, and then when you uh, play, you play a lot better. Like what I mean is when I get on live, and if I sit down beforehand and I'm practicing, when I get on live, I always solo better because I don't really think a lot when I'm playing a solo. All my thinking's done when I'm on the porch practicing or whatever, or in the living room. But it's all these little things. And then I'll notice instantly that day, I'll be like, man, I'll play really well. And it's from doing them jumps because it just helps me see the entire neck, you know. And then I'll just, like, if I'm wanting to play out of E, for instance, E major, I know that E major, you got your F sharp, G sharp, C sharp. Everything else is natural. So whenever I'm doing keys, I don't keep in mind all the notes. I keep in mind the sharps. That's three notes, and I know the rest because I know where all the natural notes are just from years of playing. So I just keep in mind that the sharps where they're at, I mark them, and then I know the rest are natural. So like an E, I'll just run. I'll start on the F sharp and go through that little exercise. You got your D sharp, just things like this all day long. That's E. And I'll just pick different scales like that throughout the day whenever I pick up, and then I'll just run that 6 exercise. I do it all the time. Like I just think about the keys that I'm normally soloing in, and I'll practice them the most, and then I'll go and practice the other keys. But I usually have a general idea what I got to work on from when I play. But hopefully that's some tips for y'all. I can show that exercise one more time real slow for you young kids. So I'll use one finger. Start on the 8th fret. You got your C major scale. So when you're going to skip the 2nd string, you're going to the 3rd string, 7th fret. Then you're going up to the next, your D note. You're going to the 10 to the 9th fret on the 3rd string. So you got 8, 7, 10, 9. Then you're going to go 7 with your 1st finger, 10 with your pinky on the 3rd string. So you got that 7th, 2nd string, 10, 3rd string. So again, you got starting on the 8th fret, you got 8, 7 on the 3rd, 8, 7, 10, 9, 10, 9, 7, 10. Then you got 8, 7 again. But the 7's on the 4th string. Skipping. This is a string skipping exercise. So it's good for that too. That's what I mean. Then you got your 10, 9 again. So I'll go over it again. 8, 7, 10, 9. 1st string and 3rd. 7, 10. 2nd string 7. 3rd string 10. 8, 7. 8 2nd string. 7 4th string. 10, 9. 7, 10 again. But on the 3rd and 4th string. Then you got 9 and 12. 9 3rd string, 12 on your G. And then that's the end, because your C is right here. So then you just go back down. Great exercise for you kids. It seems complicated, it's not. Once you get it, it will open your mind to all kinds of riffs. You start making up little things. So have fun doing it. That's the main thing, just have fun. It's not crazy complicated. If you have any questions, just let me know. Hit me up in the comments or on my live streams. Like I said, you can expand it with the one string idea. If you need help with that, just send me some comments or I'll help you out on live stream. So I appreciate all the support. Hopefully I've helped some people out today. And come and join me on live stream. Have a lovely day.